Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley. My name is Reverend Kaya Hartwood, and my pronouns are she, they, and I'm so happy to see y'all. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and all the mothering people, and all the stepmoms. We don't get a shout out very often. We're going to start out by singing number 91, which is Mother of All in the Gray Hymnal. Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. My name is Reverend Kaya, and I am serving as your worship associate today. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We also strive to welcome people across diversities of race, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. We are also a congregation working for reproductive justice in Texas. So whoever you are, wherever you have come from, wherever you are in life's journey, you are welcome here. Now the call to worship. This is from Rumi. I profess the religion of love. Love is my religion and my faith. My mother is love. My father is love. My prophet is love. My God is love. I am a child of love. I have come only to speak of love. Rumi. And now we're going to light the chalice. And I think Linus is going to help us do that. Please say these words with me. Yeah, blow it out. There you go. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and a celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. And now please say our affirmation statement. Is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Y'all, this is an intergenerational service, and as you can see, there's a lot of activity over here. We also want to celebrate the spark of the divine we find in every being, and there are lots of divine beings in this room. So please make a special effort to say hello to the people that you haven't met before, and I will let you know when it's over. This morning we are really blessed to have 3 different mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers talking to us. And I want to invite Ivy up to speak. And she's going to sing. It's going to be great. Do you know that Dr. Faber is in the house? Please stick around after the service to celebrate Allison's great achievement.
With my mother, y'all. Give it up for my mom. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about my experience as a mother because there are so many different paths people take to motherhood, so many different approaches to motherhood, but all I can really speak to is what I've experienced. So I'll share some of that with you guys today. So in the culture I grew up, being a mother is like the end goal of womanhood. There was a lot of pressure to be a mother. But there was also a lot of celebration of the good things that come along with it. So I always wanted to be a mother and enjoyed hanging out with little kids and have always been kind of a nurturer, as you can tell by all the plants and things that I somehow managed to keep alive. So when I got married, there's a lot of cultural pressure on having kids right away, but we weren't in a place where we were able to. fulfill that role quite yet. So Lauren and I, waited until we'd been married for 4 whole years, and in that time a lot of our friends had babies. And so I kind of experienced that yearning to be a mother and not being able to have it in a small degree. So my heart goes out to those who long for motherhood, and this day is hard for them because for one reason or another it just doesn't work out. So I want to take a moment of space for those for whom this day brings a little bit of pain. And then moving forward, I also want to celebrate a little bit about when I finally was able to be a mother. It was huge, life-changing, of course, in so many ways. And it was also the hardest thing I've ever done. I have kind of experienced a lot of the extremes of motherhood because my first pregnancy was not that difficult. I went to yoga and was running races right up to my due date. Had a relatively unmedicated labor. And then my second pregnancy, my body completely fell apart. I was so sick. My pelvis was sprained. I was in a wheelchair. I had to have a C-section. I wasn't able to breastfeed. It was just like everything went wrong, and it was so debilitating. And so my heart also goes out to those for whom motherhood is not the right choice at the right time. And I have a greater understanding of why reproductive justice is so important, because when motherhood is a choice, it is the greatest blessing in the world. But I also know how debilitating it can be. So I understand that nuance for why this day might also be difficult for some people. And I just wanted to share a few quotes that I found when I was thinking about what it means to be a mother. Let's see which one is most appropriate at the moment. Well, I found this one that sparked some interesting feelings. The natural state of motherhood is unselfishness. When you become a mother, you are no longer the center of your own universe. You relinquish that position to your children. And nothing makes that more apparent than being pregnant and having to give up autonomy of your body because another living being is completely dependent on it. It is a whole other thing to experience that, and very humbling. And it's really easy to kind of lose yourself as a mother, especially in a culture where selflessness is the ultimate compliment. So part of my motherhood journey has been finding myself again. And I found a quote by Beyonce, of all people, that speaks to that. She said, "My daughter introduced me to myself." So there's nothing like being a mother to really distill a lot of your own personality and a lot of your own struggles and see them reflected in a child. And also figure out what it is that you want and what it is that you need as you nurture not only a child, but nurture yourself. So one other thing that I found when I was looking at this was a reading in our book. And for me, a lot of my mothering journey has been learning how to nurture my kids, give them what they need so they can succeed. And I have one child who is a dandelion. He will thrive in any environment. And I have another child who is an orchid, and he has very specific requirements for what he needs to thrive. So it's been interesting to balance both of their needs, and also keep in mind that I am also a human who has needs, and they deserve to be met. So on this day, as we celebrate the selflessness that is mothering, we also need to remember to keep in mind that mothers need mothering too. So I brought a lot of flowers today, and I hope that anyone who has been nurtured or who needs nurturing can take some home from the table back there. And I brought some pillows down here that have some flowers from my garden that I painted because they made me think of the comfort and the love that can be in a home, in a place when we are mothering ourselves and mothering the people around us. So I'll finish with this quote from Singing the Living Tradition. It's called "Connections Are Made Slowly." It's based on the Seven of Pentacles, which is a tarot card that depicts a gardener. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot tell always by looking what is happening. More than half a tree is spread out in the soil under your feet. Penetrate quietly as the earthworm that blows no trumpet. Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree. Spread like the squash plant that overruns the garden. Gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar. Live as if you like yourself, and it may happen. Reach out, keep reaching out, keep bringing in. This is how we are going to live for a long time, but not always. For every gardener knows that after the digging, after the planting, and after the long season of tamed growth, the harvest comes. But in my own life, I'm just barely starting to see the harvest as I tend the ground and feed and water and nurture and clean up after these little guys that call me mommy. And they've always been their own amazing people, but they're turning into people who I admire and who I can learn a lot from. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to be a mother and to speak with you all about it today. You all have been a garden where I can grow, and I really appreciate the community. Thanks a village. My mother says I have Irish eyes, Irish eyes, Irish eyes. Sometimes they're green, speckled brown inside. They go ever so blue under stormy skies, but they're never so blue as when I let them cry. My father says I have Scottish hair, Scottish hair, Scottish hair. Gold like a field full of oats somewhere, like the sun on a log and the clouds unfold, like a spark on the hearth where the story's told. I'm a map of the world and the ones before, one foot in sea and one on shore. Every step, every hope flung high. I'm a map of them all with my Irish eyes. My nana says I have traveling feet, traveling feet, traveling feet. Slippers for priestesses don't fit me, but I dance to my own drum, bright and bold, and my traveling feet always get me home. My sister says I'm a restless soul, restless soul, restless soul. Easy to catch, but I'm hard to hold, like a song in the wind that you caught one day. I get under your skin and I slip away. 'Cause I'm a map of the world and the ones before, one foot at sea and one on shore. Every step, every hope flung high. I'm a map of them all with my Irish eyes. My grandpa says I've a pioneer's hands, pioneer's hands, pioneer's hands, making my home in a distant land, tucking seeds in earth with a melody, growing something new for my family. My brother says I'm an artist's heart, artist's heart, artist's heart, feeling so much that I fall apart, so I sing the colors back into view, and I paint my way till the flowers bloom. I'm a map of the world and the ones before, one foot in sea and one on shore. Every step, every hope flung high. I'm a map of them all with my Irish eyes. My mother says I have Irish eyes that go ever so blue, 'cause I'm a map of them all with my Irish eyes.
Thank you so much. I want everybody to close their eyes for a minute, and we're going to hold in our hearts all the people who've lost their mothers and all the people who didn't have good mothers. Mother's Day can be a very traumatic day for lots of people and a very joyous day for most people. So we want to hold all those people in our hearts just for a moment. Amen. May it be so. And Meg is coming up, and she is our next speaker. this morning.
So being a mother was hard and wonderful. I remember my first son, when he was a baby, he woke up every hour and a half and wanted to nurse for 20 minutes. And so, thank you. And so I was tired. And I remember one night waking my husband up and saying, "I'm going to throw this baby out the window if you don't get up and feed him." And he was like, I'm up. But I never knew how much love I could feel until I had him and his brother. I'm a pretty logical person. My mother said, "Oh, just follow your instincts and you'll be fine." But I figured, what do I want for my children? I want them to be good companions and good citizens. And what happens when you're not a good citizen in our country is that you get time out in jail, or you get fined. And so I figured I would use timeouts and I would use fines as soon as they figured out what money was. I would give each, and they bickered, and it drove me crazy. So I would give them a bag of nickels at the beginning of the week, and I would say, "I'm going to fine you a nickel every time you bicker or do something I don't like." And then however many nickels you have at the end of the week, you can keep as your allowance. And so that graduated to quarters when they were older, bag of quarters. But it helped them not bicker, because I would be like, "This is your warning, you're going to owe me a quarter after you." Or when they would ask for things over and over again, they would go, "Please, Mom, please, Mom, please, Mom, please, Mom." I was like, "You ask me one more time, you're going to owe me a quarter." And they'd go, "Oop." And they turned into wonderful people. Although the oldest one, he's logical like me. And he says, "Oh, I stopped doing the quarters thing once they stopped being little teeny kids." And Sam goes, "Mom, let me ask you a question. So when we were bickering and disobeying, we got money, and now that we don't do that, we don't get any money anymore?" So I reinstated the quarters. And when I was working as a minister and doing child dedications, I would ask all the parents, like I had asked myself, what do you want for your child? What's within the possibilities for your child? And then I want you to read that out when they get dedicated. So I want you to read their job description, basically. And I said the job description I gave my children was, I want you to be kind and strong and brave, joyful, useful, loving, honest, and healthy. And so we said that every night as a prayer. I would say, "Dear God, please make us kind and strong and brave, joyful, useful, loving, honest, and healthy." And they're in their 30s and they can still say it. So that makes me happy. That they are fulfilling their job description. And now they are parents, which is lovely to see. And my heart is full. I mothered two men who are really good men, and I'm very proud of them. In this culture, I think it's hard to be a really good person, and it takes a lot of effort. So, and I went to I wrote the job description into a song, so I want to play it for you. I wrote it as a lullaby. you wake, joyful days. May you make. Child, I love you so. You're beautiful head to toe. Sweet indeed. May you sleep. Love the world. Be of use. Build a family. Speak the truth. Child, I love you so. I hope one day you'll know. Sweet indeed. May you sleep. All the stars sing and shine. Everything will be fine. Child, I love you so. I think one day you'll know. Sweetly, may you sleep. Yeah.
So when I ask Eleanor to come up, Eleanor's going to talk to us.
Let me be sure that this is adjusted correctly, because I have a hearing loss. I'm very much aware of whether you'll be able to hear. Everybody can hear. Okay. Well, good morning. Unlike Meg and Ivy, who spoke almost extemporaneously, I have copious notes and that I'll refer to and probably be mostly reading. So let's have a go. What does being a mother mean? At a recent covenant group meeting, we were discussing our topic of the month, pluralism, and I offered the opinion that I'm the same person that I always was. And one of the members of the group then suggested that and pointed out that being a mother must have changed me. And after thinking about it, I did have to agree. Being a mother has defined me for more than 5 decades of my life, and before becoming a mother, only a little over 2 decades. So I do know this, that being a mother, you're always a mother, always. No matter how old your children become. Maybe Ivy won't realize that yet. Meg has. As the mother of 4, I would point out that I became a wife first, and that also is a role that defined me for 5 decades. And back in the day, in my day, it was more common to become a wife before becoming a mother. Our first 3 children, girl, boy, girl, came along in quite rapid succession and put a nip in the bud of what might have been a budding teaching career for me. Once we realized why our family was growing so rapidly, number 4 didn't come along until 6 years later. And this he always wondered why. So the number 4 was another boy, which evened the family up to 2 boys and 2 girls. Now, just a little on another note, it's amazing to me how much of mothering is instinctive. And that's not to say that I didn't have a truly excellent role model in my own mother. But I just think about all the creatures of the earth, both wild and domestic, that have the necessary instinct to bring life into the world and to nurture that life, the young, until they're able to be independent. And of course, that varies widely from species to species, from days to years. Now, back to my own motherhood and the nurturing of our 4 children. I was a stay-at-home mom and wife, which is a choice that my husband and I were privileged to make. First of all, we couldn't imagine anyone else taking care of our children, with the one exception of my mother, but that was not a possibility. By the time the 4th child came along, many of my peers were becoming more and more common for women to go back to work or back to school to prepare for a career. But yes, destiny, my destiny was to be a mother, which was my full-time career. Just a word now about my children who are now adults, mature adults themselves, and who have adult children, young adult children themselves, which include 8 grandchildren for me, 5 grandsons and 3 granddaughters. The older 3 are professionals with advanced degrees, and the youngest, unmarried still, and a self-declared bachelor, with only a bachelor's degree, declares himself a bachelor. And as far as character traits are concerned, there could be no more honest, kind, generous, moral, ethical, or dutiful sons and daughters that they are. And I might add that they grew up unchurched. We didn't know about Unitarian Universalism when they were growing up. So they were unchurched except for attending church with my parents in the Methodist church that I grew up in. And when we visited, the whole family attended with them. And in the summers, they would go to Bible school when they were visiting my parents. And they were fascinated with the masses and the services in the Catholic church of my mother-in-law, in the church where my husband grew up, and where we attended with her when we visited her. So I will just go back to the statement that once a mother, always a mother. You never stop loving, being concerned, sharing their grief, and worrying. So, thank you.
now let an offering be taken to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. This church shares the proceeds of offering plate donation every week to help support nonprofit organizations with which we work. The 4 groups we voted to support with this year's donations are the African American Museum, the Brazos Valley Blessings, the Pride Center, and the Brazos Mobile Food Pantry. We vote on this every May. In fact, we're going to vote on it on the 19th at our congregational meeting. So please be as generous as you can. And now we're going to have a collection of musicians play you a beautiful song by Joan Osborne called One of Us.
Everybody got me all emotional and crying, but that is a good thing.
God had a name, what would it be, and would you call it to his face? If you were faced with him in all his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question? And yeah, God is great, yeah, God is good.
We give thanks for those gifts that we have been given, for those that we receive, and for each other. May your generosity return to you tenfold. So we got a lot of announcements. One, we're having a party for Dr. Faber. We have moved in a new building. We have a lot more expenses. We have new people coming all the time. And our stewardship drive is going on. Now, Darby and Carolyn have probably talked to you, and if you haven't talked to them, wave at them so they can see you. Great. You should have gotten a letter in the mail. And if you don't, if you have any questions, or you just feeling like you want to support our mission, because we have a lot of work to do, don't we? This town needs us. We need to be here, and we have a lot of work to do. And this is one of the things, the way we do it. Now, if you don't have money, we understand. I understand about not having money. And what I think you want to do is find ways you can support the church by just being here, showing up on Sunday, or celebrating the people who can give more. We appreciate you, and we appreciate everybody's contribution, whether it's financial or voluntary. The congregational meeting is May 19th after the service. That's next week. We also have Lena Denham coming to talk about the Arlen Campbell Foundation, which raises money and does really amazing work in Ukraine. So they're going to be our guests for the congregational meeting. And lunch will be served. So you need to know that. Now, time to talk about parties. So we have a party coming up, June the 1st. It is celebrating Mary Ellen's and David Pate's 50th wedding anniversary. Yes. The tickets are extremely reasonable. One, there's a keg. Two, there will be wine donations. Three, there's incredible catered Mexican Tex-Mex food. Four, there's going to be karaoke, a dance floor. Imagine the sanctuary turning into a dance floor. With karaoke and DJ. We have incredible DJing from Brian. We're going to have incredible music. We're going to have a really good time. You do not want to miss this party. Now, it costs $20 suggested if you're an individual, but it only costs $30 for a whole family, no matter how many people are in your family. And you want to go ahead and get your tickets so that we know how many people to prepare for. And kids, we're having homemade ice cream. Homemade ice cream. If you haven't ever tasted homemade ice cream, get excited. All the grown-ups who like homemade ice cream, are you excited? Excellent. Please come out if you can and bring anybody you want to. Everybody is welcome at this party. We have enough food for 100 people. It's going to be fun. And hopefully we're going to have our fire pit ready by then too, for a little late night hanging out. And definitely bring your bug spray. Okay. Now it's time to extinguish our chalice. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. Thank you, Rory. Thank you. Right on. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again. Please sing with me if you choose to. Remember the way of the wind and breathe and blow. Remember the way of the fire, sparkle and glitter and glow. Remember the way of the water and ebb and flow. Remember the way peace. Let the party begin.